Joining us now to talk about this is Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of the Susan B. Anthony List. Marjorie, good to talk to you again.
Hey, Steve. It's good to talk to you, too.
Thank you. Okay, are you surprised by this at all?
Well, no. I mean, the hopeful side of me is, of course, disappointed. The cynical part of me sees that there is a pre- and post-election reality to what we have just seen. That before the election, it made sense to draw a line where perhaps girls are not completely in charge of their own destiny, and perhaps parents ought to be a part of their sexual, decisions before. Then after the election, all pretenses for drawing that line for when a girl can get the morning after pill all fell down. And this is very consistent with the ideology of the abortion lobby and Planned Parenthood. Being a woman means being 12, basically 12, 13. From then on, every reproductive decision that she makes is hers and hers only. Guidance from anyone, including parents, especially parents, is discouraged and, not required. I don't know a 12-year-old or a 16-year-old that's in that position that would actively seek out. Well, that's not true. That none would. Most would not actively seek out the advice and counsel if they're in a place in trouble. If they're in a place where they're really in trouble, that's when they really need their parents. I mean, anybody that has children or knows children or teenagers knows that it's a time in life when they really need their parents' guidance and counsel, especially when they're in trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how any parent could disagree with that. And, Marjorie, here's the thing. Obama still wants to have it both ways, in effect, because they released a statement today pointing out that Barack Obama personally still disagrees with the court's decision, the court decision that they are now not fighting and are now going to let stand. He disagrees with it, so don't think he's changed his position at all. Well, as I said in the previous hour, well, if that's the case, I disagree with the court's decision, but I'm not in a position to do anything about it. He is, so it's just to me a sick joke to try to separate yourself from what the Justice Department just did.
It's a joke, and it's a sick joke, but we get the joke here. I mean, truly, if you believe in the very fundamental right of a parent to guide the choices of your child, especially in an area like this where it could be an abortion, but there's certainly a question about what's going on in their lives, if you believe that's a fundamental, then you do whatever you can. You use the executive powers of the president and executive order stepping in to have legislation. You certainly can absolutely do something about it. He certainly has taken active measures. Say when the Obamacare battle was raging and abortion was a battle, he used the executive office of the president to pretend that abortion was not in Obamacare so that folks could vote who had a conscience about abortion. He uses it when he decides, and when he doesn't, he won't. And the lobby that he is so aligned with, the Planned Parenthood lobby, is reason number one that even if he started to nod in a certain direction, he would be jerked back into shape in a second, and that's exactly what he's done.
We're talking to Marjorie Dannenfelser, the president of the Susan B. Anthony List, here on the Steve Malzberg Show, and it is such a shame, and you and I have talked about this before, but I don't think we could talk about it too much. And the question is, how are the Republicans going to win back the White House? And I am of the opinion that as long as they shy away from issues like this, and abortion, and the so-called war on women, and right to life, and concede it to the Democrats, and run away from the accusation of a war on women instead of fighting and saying, wait a minute, who's out of the mainstream? And then state the positions of the Democrats and their platform. And then state the positions proudly of the Republican platform, and if you're a pro-life person. And then let America decide who's in the mainstream and who's the radical leftist out of touch with America. But they just, well, in the past two elections, they won't touch it.
They won't. And actually, when you poll and do focus groups, which we do continually, especially now here in Virginia where we've got a hot gubernatorial race, folks don't believe that the president and Democratic candidates hold the positions that they really do, say against third trimester abortion bans, against banning partial birth abortion, against sex selection abortions, for taxpayer funding of all of these things, when you ask people and poll them on it and do focus groups on it, they simply don't believe it. And why don't they believe it? They don't believe it because they haven't been told. And I can tell you, the last person to tell them will be the candidate running who knows they're running on a very, very small percentage issue, meaning 2%, 5% of people believe in them, believe in that position. You're not going to be the one to communicate it. It's the other side's job to do that for you. The other side, the Republican Party right now, has not been doing that consistently, and they're getting used to it. It's a habit. It's a habit that has to stop.
And that's why
and if you didn't want to do it for any other reason, just think about all the girls that go into these. We know these girls go into clinics all the time, and we know the lives they're leading. They're foster kids. They're kids on the down and out. They're home, living on the street. I mean, do we want a place where they actually get adult help, or do we just want to give them pills and send them back out on the street?
No,
the latter is what
right.
this president is doing.
And your group, of course, and tell the folks who don't know by some chance about Susan B. Anthony List, and your group does such a great job and plays such a pivotal role in helping to support candidates who are not afraid to speak about right-to-life issues.
Well, thank you. We're doing the best we can, which has been pretty good. Susan B. Anthony List is founded on the premise that running on these issues actually affirms what is good for women's rights, what the suffragists themselves believed when it came to, quote, reproductive rights on the abortion issue. We help elect those people. We emphasize women candidates, and then we go into the legislatures and try to drive home those issues with the people that we've helped elect. So it's a machine. In fact, we got the honor of being called the anti-choice. We are the anti-choice political machine by now, and also the NRA of the anti-choice movement, which I have to say I'm happy to I'm happy to go ahead and tell anybody that any day. So if you take this seriously, if you really believe that girls are in jeopardy, that a child ought to be protected at some point, any point along the time up until birth, well, then you act like it, and you act like you mean it. And when people say they believe it and they don't act that way, then they deserve to feel the repercussions of that. They should not be in office anymore. It's something so fundamental. It's not, tax deductions for office equipment. We're talking about the lives of people, lives of human beings who are just waiting to be born, who are sent here for a purpose. It's really that important.
No, I could not agree more, and I appreciate you coming on to talk as always. It's unfortunate, that we have these bad news topics to discuss, but you know what? I truly believe in my heart that with people like you out there, that the right will prevail, and the American public will be heard when we have people who are running on the correct side, not afraid to talk to the American public about this. And it's just a matter of getting the message out and bringing up the conversation, and you do a great job with that.
Amen, Steve. Thank you. The truth wins out. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you. That's all right. Take care. We'll speak to you soon. Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of Susan B. Anthony List.